talk about some of the other podcasts because that's. So tell me again what you just said. Which ones do you watch?
Podcasts. So I like movie podcasts. I'm a bit of a movie buff, so I listen to the Empire podcast quite a lot.
As in Empire magazine.
Yeah. And then it's just great to put one on when you're working in the background. You've got it on from doing an edit, or if you're driving it right away. I'm a cricket fan, so I listen to Tailenders podcast.
Is that what that is? A cricket one then?
Yeah. I listen to James of 5 Live, a bit more comedic. Don't lift off, of course, when I can. And
cheers, man.
And
got the plug in.
And Top Tuesday, which is the British Touring Car kind of official podcast.
Is that an official one? Is it?
Yeah, which Alan Hyde does. He's done it for years. It's a kind of a live radio show. Goes on 8 o'clock the Tuesday after every race weekend, but you can, it's a podcast as well, so you can listen as and when you can.
Is it audio or video as well, or
audio? In fact, most of the ones I listen to are audio because I'm kind of usually listening when I'm doing something else, kind of thing, in the car or working or editing or. So it just works for me really.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's great. It's good to. I try to when I'm less busy in the winter. I try to listen to trying to expand my mind and listen to some bit more, educational ones. Couple of history ones or whatever, but it's just I gravitate towards the sort of easy listens really, the more more entertaining ones because again it's usually because I'm doing something else. I can't kind of 100%.
Which entertaining ones do you tend to watch?
Entertainment ones, the what's it called? That's entertainment, is it? I can't remember. The Richard Osman one's quite good because again that's sort of background into TV production and film production and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And Ellis and John, I listen to John Robbins and Ellis James, big fan of them. What else? There's quite a few. The comedians do loads now, don't they?
The one I love, I don't religiously follow it, but the one that I'll pop in and it's just funny. Some of them, if you get the right one, it's as funny as hell, is Theo Von. Have you ever seen any of Theo Von's things?
No.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's, I think he's from Nashville. He's certainly based in Nashville now, but he's he's still a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
He had a conversation with, he's on Joe Rogan quite a lot, and he interviewed Trump before the election. He's one of the biggest ones, but his conversations, he has the most random people. He'll have mall cop, so it's just a random bloke that is just a cop in a shopping mall. Right. And then he has another one that's sex worker. And it's just some random girl that's a sex worker, and he'll just talk about the sex work industry. It's kind of almost like an American Louis Theroux. So it's just I just saw a comment. Always when there's a good episode, you always look down for the comments. I just came here for the comments, and you look down and it's just Theo's playlist is on random. And I quite like that. I quite like just having something on random, which is
stuff you want to listen to or think to listen to. You just happen upon it.
Yeah. And I was kind of, it's funny when I've almost been at a junction in terms of guests that I want to have on and who I invite, and some people say, well, I don't know, I'll come on in a couple of weeks, and I've had that from the start. And actually the people that eventually have come on have actually been like Ollie Allen. It took him a little while to come on, but when he came on, he was just funny. He was just funny all the way through. That, for me, that's what podcasts should be about. It should be about interesting conversation, real conversation. And I think almost some people are afraid of coming on because, I haven't won this and I haven't done that. It's I talk about such and such, I've done this, and, it was great to have Richard Atwood on, for instance. Obviously, he's Le Mans winner, and great to have Mika Salo on. That was mega as well. But it's, for me, it's just about, it's trying to get the stories, the funny stuff, and the story of their lives, story of, any comedy stories that's happened in the pits, and
personalities and so forth.
And the stupid stuff.
One I reckon is Adam Buxton, who was a comedic actor. He was on the Adam and Joe show years ago, if you remember that. And he's been in pops up in a few films, like he's been in Hot Fuzz, but he does some celebrity interviews, but also some really random interviews, like you've just mentioned, with people you wouldn't have ever thought to listen to. And he just, again, it's very conversational. He's funny. He throws in these little pre-recorded bits and mad jingles and stuff like that. And he's very good. And obviously, like you've already mentioned, Louis Theroux is another one that's very good. Just intelligent.
Does he still do a podcast, Louis Theroux, then?
I mean, I've been listening. I don't know if they're brand new, but I mean, he's got such a back catalogue that, go on, and there's hundreds of them. So.
Oh, I was addicted to that in like whenever he started, like when he goes to that brothel in Nevada. That's absolutely the dynamic that went on there, because then one of the girls starts really liking him, and then he starts to get really protective about her. It's like, oh my God. And of course, the Jimmy Savile one was just...
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But we've just started doing one with DTM only like a few months ago. And we're trying to do that with the drivers, but not just drivers, people that are involved in the championship. And that's been the best bit, speaking to people outside of a race weekend, away from a racetrack, and having half an hour or so with them, and they're relaxed, and we kind of know them already in most cases, and they just open up. And we always say at the end, is there anything you don't want us to leave in? Do you want us to cut anything out? Is there anything you wish you hadn't said? And they're like, no, it's fine, just go for it.
Everyone just says no. Yeah, I've had the same thing. I've had the same. Actually, the only one that, I won't reveal the actual particular car that he was talking about, but Rob Garofal, when I did the thing with him, he just messaged afterwards and said, that bit when we talked about that car hasn't been launched by McLaren yet, so I can't talk about that car. I was like, cool, all right. And obviously the Fluxy one, to mute some of the names. I went into it, I was like, I'm going to go flat. So I went into it flat, and then immediately starts mentioning wife's name, what my wife does. But it's just like, oh my God, right. Mute. Yeah. But that's just, it's the risk that you take, isn't it? But I think if you do it in good faith, then I think people forgive you for it, really.
I like it because it's sort of the real person. And, like back when we started watching motorsport in the 80s, early 90s, people, even at Formula One level, were very honest. If they were angry, they'd call somebody out in an interview. They might swear, just be honest. And then it went down this whole route of really strict media training, and it almost became robotic in terms of, I think it's got a bit better lately, but robotic in terms of how they answer the question, and make sure you say this and make sure you mention the team and don't say anything negative. And I just find that disinteresting, really. So it's great that in the world of podcasting, people come on and relax, and you actually get to speak to them as them. There's no PR person, them telling them what they can and can't say. There's no time. There's no time pressure. And it's really cool.
I remember doing a PR training session with Louise Goodman. She was mega, like really professional. But that time in my life, I was less confident than I am now, I suppose. And when she got me up the front to have a conversation, I really clammed up. And I was just like, I'm not and like I look back on it now, and I'm thinking it was probably more of a reflection of where I was at that point in my life. But I remember Ed Peed actually talking about it. So what happened to you then? It's like, where's the dunny that's like with the luminous yellow hair that's on the dance floor on the podium? It's like, what happened to that lad? And I was like, I don't know. It's just like, oh my God, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, it's just a comfort zone, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it was totally that. I'll tell you what, so normally I would do an intro to the Don't Lift Off podcast. Chris Hartley, I've known for blah, blah, blah. I haven't had a chance to do it now, so why don't we do a joint intro about how we know each other, where we first met, and how long... Yeah.
You got some romance.
When did we first meet? Yeah.
Yeah. We first met when I had your hair, that sort of length, I think, and you had no facial hair, and we were very young. We were teenagers, so early 1990s when we were both kart racing in various club championships at places like Shennington and Kimbolton. And then we wound up both doing the British Champs, the Super One, for quite a few years, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, you on, as I say, there was yourself, David. I can't think of his surname. But there was Dave. There's obviously Dave Catt. Everyone knows Dave Catt. Everyone, yeah. And I've crossed paths with Dave Catt on a few occasions. Actually, absolutely lovely. I love Dave, and I can't think of his bloody name. I'll think of it later. I'll put it up as a subtitle if I actually remember it. But yeah, Shennington, Rissington. We're obviously doing what was 100 UK back in the day. It was 100 UK when you. What was it you first started then? So to give me your path before we actually met in. I reckon it was 1991 when we met, and that was 100 UK. How long had you been doing karting at that point?
Not that long. I was quite a late starter, as with most things in my life. So I didn't start until I was almost 16 in 1990. I didn't do cadets and juniors really. I did my first 4 races. I was a junior because I wasn't quite 16 in the first couple of months of that year. So as a novice, I did my first 4 races, I think, in junior TKM or junior UK, whatever it was called then. And then, 1990 was my first season. Started out then doing senior at Chasewater. That was my local club.
Okay.
You can.
Have you got is there one of those photos you sent me? Was that?
I think I've got a Chasewater one in there.
There was one. Let me see if I can dig out. Can you see that? There you go.
Yeah. Oh, that might. Oh, is that?
Where's that? It's something with a hill in the background, so I don't actually recognise where that is.
And just look at that little left. That's not Rora, is it? I don't know, to be honest. That's
But it looks like it's going round Rora anti-clockwise. So yeah. But that looks like a really. Look at where your number plate is on the back of the seat.
I know.
Yeah,
that's a pretty early one. I mean, that might be 1990 or 1991, I think. They all had CC TKM engine, a greasy track. These came courtesy of my mum delivered a load of photos she'd found at the loft about a month ago.
Mega.
Taken them, and then you messaged me and said, "Oh, have you got any photos?" And I just sort of I plowed through them this morning. I hadn't really looked at them.
Yeah,
there's loads at her house. But that's I mean, that's not very early days because it's got side pods. Look, and
can you see the one that's on screen there without the side pods with your granddad?
Oh right, yeah.
Has that come up?
It's not on full screen. But
let's have a look. So can you see the one where you're sat in the cart?
I can. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Mega.
I think I just had a buzz cut and that was growing back at that point. But yeah, that's my my late nan and granddad either side, and my mom middle, and obviously I guess my dad was mechanic. He took the photo. Yeah. But there wasn't a lot of protection back then, was like your ankles were a bit exposed, and so the sides. I always remember from karting just having constantly sore ribs all the time from being around in that pretty uncomfortable seat. I think the very first seat I had didn't even have any cushioning. When I was a novice, it was just a plastic bucket seat.
Really?
Yeah, that was hard going.
That looks like it's TKM. It's red. That's a red plate, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks like clay pigeon. I think. Looking at their
with their barriers.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So but that's pretty early on. I reckon I had a crack 91 or 92 at the Super One at trying to qualify for it. I think it was down there at Clay Pigeon, and it didn't go well. I went in too soon, so I knocked it on the head for a year, and then came back until I got a bit more experience.
Oh, is that what you did? And what you went and did, sort of like Rizzy and Shenny and Kim Bolton?
Yeah, I didn't really race Rizzy that much. I did Shennington a lot. Did the club championships there. Kim Bolton I loved. That was one of my favourite tracks.
There's a photo there. Has that come up? Has that shown? Can you see that one of Kim Bolton?
No, but I know there is one. Another one you mean.
Delay on it for whatever reason.
Kim Bolton, loved the S-bend section at Kim Bolton, and trying sometimes successfully and sometimes with dire consequences trying to chuck it around the outside into turn one.
Yeah, you could do it. I saw Jenson Button overtake someone into turn one around the outside.
Yeah.
Were you there for that race weekend? Can you remember that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Was that the Anglian Champs or something like? Was that a Super One?
Something like that. Yeah. It would have been about 93. I just remember him doing somewhere around the outside. It's like that was a good move because it was hard to overtake around the outside.
Yeah, I used to. There was nothing better than overtaking somebody around the outside and mugging them off. I used to love it. But there you go. I can see it now. Number 17. Yeah, that was. I think that was my first year doing British Champs.
Was it?
Yeah, and the aim was always to get into the top 15, wasn't it? Because the top 15 in the country were seeded, so you
had a number plate. Yeah,
you were the only one that could use the numbers 1 to 15, and that was always my aim. My second year actually, because I think the first year I finished 17th, which is why I switched to that 17. But I love Kim Bolton. I have a good memory of quite often a young chap in a cadet used to go around, and I used to go, if I wasn't getting the kart ready, I'd go and watch him race, because often he'd go from the back to the front. And to this day, I wish I put some money on him becoming a Formula One world champion, because his name was Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
He used to turn up at Kim Bolton quite a lot and absolutely blitz it in the cadets when he was like 8 years old.
Yeah, he was very good. He was mega even back in the day.
Yeah. Overtook
him. Can you see that? Can you see that? You did what, sorry?
Overtook him once because it was like a free practice session on a Friday. So they had all the classes went out together. So you'd have like,
what, cadets as well?
Yeah. Cadet,
no way.
Really? Juniors, seniors. I don't think they let the gearboxes out at the same time. But I overtook him, but only because I had like literally double the horsepower that he had.
So you claim to fame. I overtook Lewis Hamilton when he was in a cadet and I was in a 2-stroke.
Yeah.
100cc. Love it.
Yeah, looking bold. And my first kart I bought off Lee Brooks, because he was I'm sure he was a British champion, wasn't he, Lee? But he went on to race in touring cars and runs a team, Total Control.
I remember the name.
Yeah. Did
he race in Clios or something?
He raced 100 or Senior Britain mainly, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, he raced some top drivers. He raced against Senna and people like that. He was a really good karter. So yeah, I bought my first kit from him because he was not far from my neck of the woods near Chasewater. Not too far from there.
But yeah, is that where you got your kit from?
Yeah.
Can you see that photo? Has that changed from that first photo? It's a Kim Bolton one.
Is that? I've got the one with me right behind somebody.
Yes.
Going through.
Do you know who that somebody is?
I can't. It's too blurry.
Let me see if I can see it. Can you? Is that zoomed in?
What number is it? It's not you, is it?
It is. Yeah.
It is you.
Yeah. This before I had my helmet painted. That's us. So that's Kim Bolton. That must have been on the same weekend as when you took that photo. So the previous photo you sent me, and this is a photo that I've dug out. That's clearly on the same weekend by the looks of it, because you've got the number 17. Yeah. And that kit that I'm wearing there was what I got off a guy called Charlie Postins.
Right.
And so I know that that's really early on from when I started racing, and that was 1991. And just off novice plates, I think.
Note the different styles. So you lean like you should do into the corner. You always used to tilt your head quite a lot into the corners.
Didn't I? Yeah. Paul Carr used to rip me for that.
Well, he used to rip me for going the wrong way, because I leaned out of the corner. I always leaned out of the corner, and it was just something I did. And I don't know why I did that.
Stuart Smith used to do that a lot, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he was quite good. Multiple British champion. It worked for me in the wet, for the balance transfer, the weight transfer or something. Always worked in the wet. But no, got great days. So we should talk about my overriding memory of Kim Bolton.
Yeah.
It's the Anglian Champs, which was kind of just a step down from a British Championship weekend, wasn't it? It was like all the big guns turned up.
Yeah.
All the local.
It was televised. I think there's some stuff of it still on YouTube.
Yeah, it was. And we were racing in it in TKM. This would have been about 93, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for anyone that doesn't watch karting, or as it used to be back then, you'd have 3 qualifying heats, and you'd get a random grid draw, and you'd start one at the front, you'd start one somewhere in the middle, and you'd start one at the back. And I think it was my best grid the first race, and I was right around Kim Bolton. I'd come second in the club championships. I'd won some races around there, so I was hoping for a good weekend. And within like 2 laps, got battered off. And the first race, great, and it completely bent the chassis, like so much so that the front, I think it was the front right wheel wasn't even touching the floor anymore. It was a proper whack.
Oh, really?
So we had to try and fix it. So we missed the second heat, but the people that helped me fix it were your 2 uncles, Cliff and Steve. And they,
really?
They came over in between getting you ready on the Saturday afternoon, and then we went into Saturday night, and they were we got them on the floor, jumping up and down on this corner, trying to bend it with crowbars, smacking it with sledgehammers. And we eventually just about got it to touch the floor, but it wasn't great. And I've missed the first 2 heats. I had 1 qualifying heat left on the Sunday morning, but I was so wound up and red mist about, missing my chance to do well in this televised event. Mm-hmm. But I had a pretty good, my last race was from the back, I think, and I came through to about 6th place from the back.
Oh, did you?
Did enough to qualify for the back of the grid for the B final, because there were too many to fit in the final. So you'd have a B final where, if you hadn't qualified, the first 4 in that race could join the back of the grid for the main televised final. And I was, I think, sort of almost at the back of the grid because I'd missed 2 races. And on this thing that was awful around the corners, I was just thrown in. I was just taking every chance I got. And I managed to get through. I got through from the back to 3rd or 4th place, qualified at the back of the A final. And then I think I came through to 5th place in the end. It was like one of my best weekends I'd ever had on this absolute pile of junk that had to be sent back to the factory afterwards and properly rejigged and all that.
Really?
But I only got out there because Cliff and Steve, your uncles, spent hours with us trying to get it fixed for the next day. And I always remember that.
Oh, mega. I never realised that. I don't know if is it come up the photo of Cliff? You can see a photo, what it looks like from Rissington there, of that's Stephen pushing the go-kart, Clifford deep in conversation. Around about that sort of time, I'm pretty sure that'll be Rizzy with that hanger in the background.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That is Rissington, isn't it? Pretty sure.
Yeah.
That was.
But that's what you did for each other. That's what you would, if I remember my uncle, Cliff, I remember him going off to help Lewis Lewis's dad more when it was at PF, and there was, I think he'd had some kind of shunt, similar sort of thing, had some kind of shunt, and my kart was for once not shunted. And and he disappeared off to help his old man. You just
no, it was
used
class.
To do that.
It was brilliant. And I don't think we'd even known you that long at that point, but it just came and helped, and we got on ever since, like a house on fire. And your uncles used to make me cry with laughter. That was so funny. They'd just take the mickey out of anybody and everybody. They didn't care who it was.
Yeah.
But gold as well.
This is quite a good one. I don't know if you can see. It's a bit of a blurry photo, but that's Cliff, me, and your dad. I'm pretty sure it's your dad, isn't it, with the hat on?
The cap on, yeah. Blimey, doing the old Nigel Mansell there, his cap on.
Yeah. Your dad always had his cap on, from what I remember. I think that's my brother just over here to the left as well.
Yeah.
So that would have been, 91-ish, something like that. Here's a corker. Where's this?
That's Fullbeck, I think.
Oh, is it?
A tracker. I never got on that well with Fullbeck. I don't know. It just didn't suit me. You get a track, don't you, that you just can't get on with. I remember that was, I would have either been a British Championship round or just I'd gone for a practice race up there. And it was so hot. And it used to take it out of you, didn't it, karting? I mean, even when you're, in your teens or early 20s and you're fit, it's just even though they're short, sharp races, it was really physical. And of course, you'd go around all day on a Friday practicing. And then you'd have the races on Saturday and Sunday, early starts normally. And then in between, you're just constantly trying to work on the kart and tweak it and get it ready.
Yeah, it was just non-stop, wasn't it? On both days, you'd have probably, 8-10 practice sessions on the Saturday. And then the Sunday, warm up, 3 heats and a final. It's just relentless, wasn't it?
Yeah. And when it was hot like that weekend, I'd quite often, I'd have to have a little sleep, before the race. So I found a bit of shade there, obviously under the trolley of the car.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it was so physical doing that. I was the fittest I've ever been in my life. I was same height as I am now, and I was 10.5 stone, which was ludicrously underweight, really. But you had to be as light as you could be, so as not to be too much above the minimum weight, because obviously that's just slowed you down. Then a couple of kilograms would slow you down enough to be struggling in the race.
Yeah. No, I used to fall asleep quite often when I was just usually sat on the dummy grid, actually.
Yeah.
Back in the day. How big were the grids in what was 100 UK and then back into TKM? I reckon for like Super One, it was like, 60, 70 odd carts, something like that. It was ridiculous. Even a club meeting was like 40, 45 carts, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. You get, I think it was 64, 65 in a Super One. So you get C finals sometimes. So, they had 3 qualifying heats, but there's only usually 24 places on the grid for the final, where you get the trophies and the big championship points. But they'll have 20 places, 4 reserved for the top 4 from the B final. But then you'd even have a C final for those that had a really bad day, and then like kind of one last repechage to get to the front of the C final, to get to the back of the B final and go through. So, if you'd had a bad day like that, and I had a few, you were doing a lot of racing in an afternoon.
Yeah.
But they were such good races, because it was just dead even, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, especially with TK. And once you'd got the bloody carburetors sorted, the old Warbro carburetors, I can't believe they're still running on those Warbro carburetors.
Do they?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been looking at trying to get my my daughter out because she races junior pro kart with her mum at the moment, but just at Teesside, and I'm wanting to get her out. In fact, I've just booked her in for a session with Gary Chapman at Pro Train in a Rotax. Yeah. Well, our very first karting experience, me and my dad, was with Gary Chapman at Rye House, and we did it as an experience. And we both actually drove for the morning, and then, because it was kind of a lad and dad experience type thing, let's see what this is like. And then in the afternoon, my dad said, yeah, you're going a little bit faster than me now, so you crack. I think he was just knackered, actually. I think it was more than anything. It's just like, I'm just rinsed now. I spun like 26 times in that day. 26 times. I did go quite fast in the end, but number of spins.
Yeah. That's where I had my first go as well, Rye House, because I'd started.
Was it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what got me into it. Do you remember Grandstand on a Saturday on the BBC?
Yeah.
Multiple sports on a whole afternoon of Saturday sport. And they would, once a year, they'd show the British Kart Grand Prix at Brands Hatch normally.
Okay, yeah.
With Silverstone sometimes, but like the 250cc karts. And I just happened upon that when I was about 14. And I was like, wow, that looks so cool. I want to do that. So for my 15th birthday, it was just at that point that indoor karting circuits were becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. So, my mum and dad got me for my birthday, just a arrive and drive, have a little go in an indoor kart. Loved it. And then went and I saved some money, so I went and did a race against, just Joe Public, like I was, but they were all adults and I was 15, and I won it. I was like, this is quite good. I was no good at any sport whatsoever. Like, I never did sports very successfully at school at all. That has to be in the football team, that sort of thing.
Oh, I was exactly the same, mate. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Yeah. I was exactly the same. Always the last to be picked in the school football team. Yeah.
I mean, it's swimming. But I wasn't fast. I would swim for a couple of teams and a couple of clubs, but, I was sort of the reserve. If they're really struggling, I'd go and do it. I was a long distance person. I could just keep swimming forever. Like
right.
10-kilometre badge, but I wasn't that quick. So I wasn't really sporty at it. So then, I guess back end of 1989, I guess it was, my dad found the karting magazine that we all knew and loved. And there was an advert in there for, come and have a go for a bit of tutoring. And it was Stuart Zemelis, if you remember him. It was
I know Stu, yeah.
British champion, wasn't he? Multiple champion.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked with him a little bit in cars, actually, for Club Fiorano. He was Ferrari UK instructor, and
Oh,
I actually raced for him, believe it, in a Rotax Max race.
Did you really?
In 2000. Yeah.
So,
So you went with Stu.
That was Rye House, and then really hot day. And I did what you did, spun off a million times, but was quite quick. And the thing that I wasn't doing, because I'd transitioned from indoor karts, I wasn't really braking, which you kind of need to do at Rye House in a much quicker kart. So I was just like thrown into the corners and spinning half the time. But once I got that, it was pretty good. And I remember my mom went with us, and she took a deck chair down to one of the corners, and she watched to start with, and then she was so horrified with how quick they actually were compared to the indoor ones. She turned the deck chair facing away from the track for the rest of the afternoon and just read a book. She couldn't stand it.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's how I got into it, down at Ryan House. Same as you. How about that?
Isn't that funny? With a pylon.
Yeah.
I think they've added a little chicane in there, apparently. Someone was telling me the other day. So we've got one of the lads in the team I do some work with, and he does karting. He said they've put an extra chicane. I'm not sure where. It's like, I think if I went back to Shenny, apparently they've got a clubhouse now, because they just had that barn, didn't they? They just, it was like your scrutineering barn, and that was it. Dummy grid, scrutineering barn, and then the rest of it was like, if you've got a big motorhome, great. If you've got a caravan, great. If you haven't, you're sleeping in a tent. This is just the deal.
That was us. Cart in the back of a trailer that my dad actually bought the space chassis of a trailer, because he hadn't got a lot of money, and then built out of wood the kind of trailer box to go with it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. That was an upgrade, actually, because we started with, like a lot of people did, stuck it on the roof rack of the car and drove to the track.
Yeah.
And then eventually we got posh and we got a caravan, second-hand caravan, to sleep in that.
Oh, we used to love that. Remember all the hot dogs my mum used to make?
Yeah.
Just make hot dogs. I think her crowning glory was when she ran across the paddock to give Martin Hines a hot dog, and he wound down the window of his Winnebago, and just like, I've just given a hot dog to Martin Hines.
Very cool.
Clifford used to rip the piss with Hinesy in his lycra shorts.
Yeah.
Remember his lycra shorts? It'd turn up.
All his hot pants
in his lycra shorts. Yeah. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Mr. Karting. What a character he was.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
With his permatan and his very white teeth. It's like some sort of model walking around these dirty, greasy, cold, wet kart tracks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Helped a lot of drivers, though, back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Including a certain 7-time world champion.
Mm. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was the go-to, wasn't he?
Well, I remember, it's funny, actually, I've just been digging out some old VHS videos, and one of the ones that I've just looked at, and I was like, oh, bloody, I remember this. This Is Karting. Can you remember the This Is Karting VHS video?
Like instructional thing about how the flags worked and all that, was it? That one?
Oh, no, this was more about, it was just all about karting.
Okay.
And it would have... So Jamie Spence was in Junior Britain. He was Junior Britain champion at the time. Guy Smith was an up-and-coming, so they featured him. They featured Jenson Button, I think, had just moved out of cadets, actually, when he used to have the black and yellow helmet, Rocket Motorsport. And so he was in... Well, him and his dad were interviewed. I think this was before Lewis... I think the video was made before Lewis was racing in cadets, actually, because I don't think he was on it. But, yeah.
So you've still got that? A VHS?
Well, yeah, I haven't got a VHS player, but I need to work out a way. Yeah, Betamax was better. Betamax was superior.
But, you go to the video shop and there'd be shelves and shelves of VHS films that I wanted to watch, and like one corner of the video shop with about 12 Betamax videos. Great.
Yeah. I ended up inheriting a Betamax video, and it had Apocalypse Now, Monty Python, and Now for Something Completely Different, and that was it. That was the only two films that were on there. They were good films, good things, to be fair. But you know what I don't think any of us appreciated back then was just how healthy karting was, and just how competitive and how vibrant it was. If you look now, okay, so it's moved towards more of a business. Whenever I go to a national, and it's a while since I've probably been to a whatever the equivalent of Super One is, but it's like everyone's got these massive motorhomes. Like everyone has motorhomes, and they got the big awnings with the electric opening doors, and it's like it seems like a world apart from the sort of grassroots stuff that we did.
Totally. Yeah. It was two things. I think firstly, it was kind of a sport in its own right back then. It wasn't necessarily seen, although people did do it, it wasn't necessarily seen as you do that, you learn how to drive, and then that's your stepping stone to go into a career in car racing. It was very much, there were a lot of people like, you know, Martin Hines and Stuart Zemelis who were just in that world, and they were superstars in the world of karting. And there were a lot of people like that. And then the other thing was that the money wasn't being thrown into it. I mean, I remember I think our first season, I'm bearing in mind this is the early 1990s, our first season of Super One British Championships, which would have been doing the qualifying rounds of that. I think it was 6 rounds in the championship, and then we would have done a season of club championship racing. So probably did 20 odd, 25 race weekends in a year.
Yeah.
With all the travel and everything, my dad said, you know, it was tough for him to fork that money out. And I think we spent about £8,000 in the whole year. Now you think what they're spending now, it's like, I mean, if you're racing at European level, you're into like 6 figures. It's serious money. And you could turn up and you could use the same set of slick tyres for like half a season because everyone's doing it. And then as we've sort of were in it 5 or 6 years, it started to change and it got more professional. Then teams started to turn up, and the big awnings used to turn up with, and it's been run by teams. You know, you'd hire a place with one of the big teams, they'd look after you, and then people would start bolting on a new set of slicks for every heat, every qualifying session.
Yeah, and the Formula A stuff, they'd do that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and you had to do it because if you didn't do it, you just couldn't keep up with them. So then the costs started to spiral, and then things like controlled fuel came in, and it all got quite expensive, really. And that's the one bad thing about sport. There's so many hugely talented people that just couldn't make it because you didn't have the money to do it. You know, if you'd go into another sport, I know all sports are expensive and you've got to travel and you've got to get the kit, but you know, if it's tennis, you know, you've got to get a tennis racket, some tennis balls, you've got to hire the court, hire a coach. But it's like a different level with motorsport, the amount of insanely expensive kit you've got to buy just somewhere near competitive.
Yeah. It's like you've got to have a team with 20 or 30 engines to choose the best 2 or 3. I think the only way you're going to really, like, of course, you've got to, the art form is to get sponsored by someone, and you're essentially then using someone else's money, not your own family's money. So that takes a lot doing, and it's all about personal relationships and what you can give back to those people and so on and so forth. But the other way that I've seen being done is like the likes that Rob Weldon did, and I think probably Damon Hill kind of did that in a way, which is working for the team in a role. Like, so Damon became a test driver, didn't he? So he became like an asset to the team. And because this kid was around and was able to develop the cars and give them a direction on the cars, just like, well, you know, should we give him a run? And he knew the car and knew how to set up the car, and he was actually pretty fast. And it's like, I mean, Rob Weldon, who ran Raw Motorsport, he was a multiple radical champion, he's a very fast kid. He worked for Simon Wright Racing Developments because he didn't have any money. And he didn't have the family support at the time. And so it was like, well, I'll just work as a mechanic. So he worked as a mechanic for Simon Wright, and then we just go and shake down the car. She's like, this kid's quick. This kid's like really quick. It's like, okay, let's see if we can bung it. We'll get him out on a chassis just for the weekend. It's like, this kid's like, he's actually starting to get them results. So we better support him then. And so ended up getting a drive from that, and ended up into cars, and then, you know, created himself a team out of it. And it's quite rare. You've got to be prepared to like graft like hell if you're going to go down that route. Yeah,
absolutely. Which I never really, I didn't have the confidence to do it. And then I guess I came into it a bit too late. If I'd maybe been doing it since I was 8 or 9 years old, it might have been a different story. But, you know, by the time I was getting good, then I was going to university. I'd started to, go out and go for a few beers and things like that. So then they're looking at getting a job when I'm in my early 20s. So it wasn't really ever an option to go kind of, this I'm going to focus my whole life on this and getting sponsors and try and be a racing driver, really. I mean, got some sponsorship through, for karting, but it was difficult because what could they get out of it, really? I mean, stuff apart from the odd thing wasn't even televised back then. There was certainly no live streaming or,
No.
social media. So
yeah, that's the thing that has changed for the good, actually, isn't it? It's the ability to go and, your Alpha Live timing, Alpha Live videos, and you get a decent quality of production that you can go and watch it. It's no longer I've got like hundreds of hours of my mum filming, usually stopping when the heat started, and then restarting just as it's finished.
Yeah, got some of those as well.
So if video's starting, you can just see feet.
Yeah. On wobble cam, no tripod, just off the shoulder.
Yeah. Go on, Pete. Yeah. My cousin. Tell you what I'd like to catch up with. I'd like to catch up with some of the 1990s karters, like Nicky Richardson. I'd love to have Nicky Richardson on. Someone like Anthony Davison. I tell you who I spoke to is, remember Lars Sexton? I did a podcast with Lars Sexton. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
But you think about from those Junior Britain days, that's what always amazed me. You'd always watch the Junior Britons in particular, like that class at that time, like early to mid 1990s. That was the most exciting thing. Not least because it was so fast for juniors. What was the age group? It would have been 12 to, what was it, 14 to
11 to 16?
You tell me.
11 to 16.
11 to 16.
Yeah. So
you've had like 11, 12-year-olds
11-year-olds
on a go-kart that was it was nigh on as quick as a Formula A, wasn't it? When they went for whichever the super sticky tyres were. I was trying to think of the names that used to do it. So it's Jenson Button, Dan Weldon, Justin Wilson, Anthony Davison, Stu Mosley. These guys have gone on to have mega international careers, and just to go and, I suppose, be a spectator and watch that, it was quite special to. Yeah, they were so fast.
Yeah, it shows how good it was as well as a training ground, because like we've already talked about the heat system, and so you'd have to overtake. Like, you couldn't just go, right, I'm the quickest, qualifying pole, and drive off and win any races. You'd always have to come from the back or the middle. You'd always have to fight your way through, and you just learn that racecraft immediately, and you can transfer that across, I believe, into any kind of car racing. Just that knowledge of reading the road, reading what the next guy that you're trying to battle with, where's he a bit weaker, where can I pounce, where are they a bit stronger, where am I going to find that little chink in the armour to have a go.
Yeah,
all of that brain power that you need, and just that natural ability, that natural feel for what's around you and how far you can push the kart, all comes from karting. And there's a few, but there's not many top racers that didn't do karting and didn't do well at it. And there's a reason.
Yeah. Well, I used to think, you remember Rizzy, it's like the number of times you'd come down to the dogleg on a TKM final, just could be a Midland Championship or a local clubby, and there'd be like 20 carts in front of you, all trying to navigate through those. Remember those water barrels that they had? Clifford used to lose his head whenever I hit one of them water barrels, because I'd arrive, like, backed it, dunk it like that, and bend another axle, and then the go-kart be like a clown car for the rest of the heat, wouldn't it? Fucking water barrels again. You leave them water barrels alone. But the thing is, what it teaches you when you've done that, like you say, warm up, 3 heats, final, every weekend or every other weekend. It's why, like, now, if I'm doing 70 miles an hour on a motorway and there's a load of cars in front of me and suddenly all the brake lights come on, like, my missus quite often, she'll just, they're braking. I'm like,
you're not doing that.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I've done this 1,000 times before in much hairier circumstances when everyone's trying to fire you off. So this isn't a problem.
Yeah,
you just get used to it, don't you?
Yeah, it's just inbuilt. I think the other thing, I didn't make a career out of racing in the end. I did it for 10 years, and just the sheer amount of disappointment that you have to face, because I always say, like most sports, you either lose because you weren't good enough or the other person was a bit better on the day. That's most sport. There's not that much in the way of luck, I don't think. There is some, obviously. It depends on what the sport is.
Yeah.
But in motorsport, you can be perfect and everything you did is right, and you still come away with nothing because a tiny component on a carburetor suddenly fails. You've prepped and you've worked and you've got it all. It's brand new. You've worked worked with it in the previous race and it was perfect. You haven't touched it, or you've cleaned it properly. You didn't do anything wrong, and it's just failed. Some components failed. Or somebody else makes a mistake and crashes into you and ruins your day as well, which happened quite a lot in karting. So, you know, you had to face the fact that probably, even if you were good, the chances are you're going to have a bad day. More chance of a bad day or a mixed day than just a really good day. I mean, the perfect days didn't ever really happen. So you take that into life then. You just, because you're used to dealing with adversity, and you learn to deal with some disappointment, and you put everything in a bit of context, and you know, like, it'll come right in the end, but it's always going to be a bumpy ride. And I think that's really helped me in life outside of racing as well, just with work and, you know, disappointments that you know, people face. You kind of
relationships.
Yeah, you just roll. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And, you know, and you don't get too down on yourself either, because you think, well, I've kind of done everything I can there and it still didn't work. It just wasn't meant to.
Yeah. So we just go again.
Yeah.
We just try again.
Yeah.
It's that I see it as like, I've often said to this when you're talking to people about, you know, and they're finishing like 12th, 13th or whatever. Okay. It's a performance equation, and you've got, you know, it can be made of tires, chassis, driving experience, driving skill, weather conditions, you know, psychological state, emotional state, engine performance. It's so many, you know, engineering, support, reliability, all of these things that perform that create this performance equation, and you've got to get them all right to get that result ultimately. And it's just about trying to find that sweet spot. But then, in order to get that right, you've got to have a really very blinkered and focused view.
100%. And then in that level, everybody's good. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's prepping it. So, you know, even if everything works, you're doing a good job, the setup is great, it's still hard because they're all really good as well. There's nothing, which, you know, we used to have like hundreds of a second between us, didn't we, when you're racing, and you'd be like 6, 7 of you battling for the race lead, and you could end up first, or you could end up 7th, or you could end up off the road. And it was so competitive. So I think it was great. I mean, I think sport is great for any kids growing up, whatever they choose to do. I think it's so character building for them. But it really made you appreciate when you did have a good day, because you could have had traveled up and down the country, and we've had some long drives back from Scotland and Cumbria, like 8-hour drives home, pulling the caravan, me and my dad completely dejected because you've done everything you can. You've had a bad weekend. None of it was your fault. But then when you do get those moments, those good days, that you just massively appreciate them, I think, because they're not given at all.
Yeah, you do. And like you say, it's a mega training ground for life in general. Can you see that photo that I've got of your dad there?
I can't.
Is that on screen?
Is that him with the trophy?
Can you see him? Can you see it on screen?
No, I've got a blank screen. I've got a big black square.
Brilliant. That's amazing. Let me try that one again. I'm trying to dig out some of the photos, because I want to talk about your commentating, because that's obviously stems from the day's karting. And I'm really interested, because we didn't really see each other. We weren't really in each other's lives for a long time, until we bumped into each other in cars. Has that come up on screen at all there now?
I was thinking about it, but no.
Okay. Anything else? There's a race here that you're in a Fullerton kart.
Oh, is that? So that's when I'm in Senior Britain, isn't it?
Oh, was that in Britain? Did you do Senior Britain then?
I did, yeah. I did. I mean, did most of my career in TKM, but I stepped up and did, I think the last 3 years, I went into 100 Britain, which was mega. I mean, I still remember the first time I ever drove on was at PFI.
Okay.
Raceway in Lincolnshire. And the difference in acceleration between that and the TKM, it was like, just pinned me back in the seat. It was so good. It took me a while, even though I've been racing for like 6-7 years at that point. It took me a while to get into it, just get on top of it really. But when I did, it was such a quick thing to drive. It's still one of the most there it is. Yeah, that's it, number 86. So yeah, I'm kind of probably late teens at this point, and at university.
Right.
Yeah, did a bit less racing than we had. I mean, even like you, I'm sure, even when I was doing my GCSEs, I would be going off racing every weekend. It takes some revision with me. But I was doing a bit less at this point. But I did do a couple of years in the British Championships. And
Did you?
Yeah, so the best I ever did in TKM, I just got that seed one year. I got 15. So I just made it. Another year in that, I was convinced we were not necessarily going to win it, but I thought we could get like a top 5 or 6 because I was winning every time I went out. I was winning club racing and stuff. But I just had one of those years. Every time I went out, somebody crashed into me or something went wrong, and I think we went to the last round at Clay Pigeon, and I was 36th in the championship or something like that. And I just thought, what have I got to do, And I kind of relaxed a bit, I suppose. Might have been part of it. And we even had a couple of drinks the night before, and just had a good time. And like, right, just go and race now. I can't win anything. I can't get seeded. And went and won the race. Had the best weekend I'd ever had. And
Super One.
Yeah, and I think that was the year before I got 15. That was I just missed
that. I remember that, and I was going to mention that. That was at Clay, right?
That was Clay Pigeon, yeah.
I remember that well. That would have been 95, I reckon.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that.
I think it was 95 because I wasn't racing with you then, and you were on Paul Carr's chassis. You were on a Venom, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I used to love the
Venom.
Yeah. Everything clicked. It was like the season I thought it was going to be, but it waited until the last round to happen. Just one of those years. Just stuff went wrong, and this is a reason never to give up. It got to one point where I got knocked off the track. Somebody crashed into me for like the 8th race running, and I just got dejected, and I've been spun off onto the grass into the time barrier, and I didn't get back in. I just sort of like, what can I do? Like, this is not happening for me. So I didn't finish the race, and then it got better. A reasonable round in Scotland the weekend before the Clay Pigeon one.
Yeah,
so I was like 34th in the championship or something, and trying to be a seed. And in the end, because I won that last round, I was only like 3 or 4 points off getting into the top 15 and being a seeded driver for the year after.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't got back in the kart like a few rounds ago. If I just got over the finish line, even though I was a lap down or whatever, I'd have got a handful of points. So I've never given up in anything ever since then, because it's always haunted me that I did that. But anyway, the year after we managed to do it. We managed to get in the top 15, and then I had quite a tough first year in Senior Britain because that was super competitive. But I got the last proper year I did of karting, I got into 14th, I think, into the seedings, and had a good year. And then just sort of did one more year in 100 National. Remember that, old green plates?
Yeah, well, that's what I was on when you were in TKM. When you won that race, I'd moved to 100C. As it was then, wasn't it? It was 100C with the green plates, rotary valves, rotary versus reed valve.
That was quick as well.
And I see, it's interesting. So that's the last I remember of you from karting, because I moved up to cars 96, 97, blah, blah, blah. And so the last I remember of you was that final round in 100C when you were in the Venom, and you won a round of Super One, because we were able to watch it, you see, and I just had a really crap round as well. I was like in the fight for the championship. In the end, I finished 5th.
That's right.
I was in the fight for the championship, and I just had a really crap last round and ended up finishing 5th. But remember watching that, and it was literally, I'm thinking it's almost like the hair standing on the back of my neck now. Just watching that, thinking, yes, Chris has won it. And it's quite often I've said, I was like, we'll talk about the commentating in a second, but it's like, do you realise that lad is commentating? He's won a round in the national championship. You don't realise actually how bloody competitive that was in the mid-90s to get anywhere near the top 20, let alone actually go and win a round. I was like, fair play. That was great.
Yeah, that was good. It was kind of payback for my mom and dad as well, and all the work. We'd had a miserable year. We'd had a really good start to the year before the British Champs. Like I'd come away with a trophy from every club race I did, and then 5 weekends of misery, and then it all just came together. And yeah, when I found myself in second place, there's no way I was going to finish second. I was either going to win it or come on.
Who were you fighting against?
Oh, what was his name? Danny. I mean, there was like 6 of us in the lead battle. There was Gordon Finlayson was one.
Yeah. He was good.
Quick Scottish driver. Oh God, was it Danny Smith? This is like 30 odd years ago now.
I wonder whether Stuart Smith was it? Maybe
he was in that race, but
right,
and he might have even been in that lead battle, but he fell away in the race.
He was always there or thereabouts, Smithy, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was the benchmark really in that. Try and beat.
Yeah, he was.
I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry to say. Anyway, Danny, he was good. He was good. It was a good race. We were kind of evenly matched. And he was somebody else. Danny Brown. That was it. Danny Brown. I remembered.
Yeah. Kart world champion.
Yeah.
He was in the end, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But he was a bit like me. He was quick, but he'd have a bit of bad luck here and there as well. But on his day, it was really good. And it ended up being us 2 fighting for the win. And we had a really good battle, good clean scrap. We got past him not fairly early, but kind of halfway through the race. So I had to defend like mad for like 6-7 laps in that race. It was hard, but there was no way I was give that up.
It was about the first and only time I've ever seen Paul Carr not really miserable. He's like, I remember him coming into Park Road because we were coming over and say, yes, he's finally won. And it was like, and I remember him saying, where's the pilot? You know, as he would, he's like, he'd always like have a stopwatch spinning around. He was, where's the pot? Whereabouts is the pilot?
I actually got a well done and a handshake from him for that one because it was like getting a Paul Hollywood handshake, wasn't it? It was like they didn't come along. Wow. But I remember, was it I don't think it might have been my dad. I can't remember. Anyway, he was watching with somebody and he turned to them and he said, we got the lead of the race, and he said, there's no way he's going to win as long as he's got a hole up his arse. He's not going to win this race.
That was your dad?
No, he said it to my dad. Like, yeah. And I did. I won it. So I actually got a congratulations from him because he was a hard taskmaster. He was not easily impressed. Yeah.
He was great. I learned a lot I only raced with him on his kit actually for a few races. I did one Senior Britain race, and I had a nose to tail with Jim Rainbird. Remember Jim Rainbird? Still friends with him on Facebook, actually.
Yeah, he's good. He was good.
He was really good, wasn't he? And I remember doing, like you say, getting on the reed valve for the first time. And that's why I'm wanting to get my daughter out in like a Rotax, you know, even if it's just a mini max or junior max, whatever they call it. Because I was like, you really need to feel a lightweight go-kart, as thoroughbred as you can get. I mean, yeah, you can get faster ones than that, but you know, when you've come out of something like a junior pro kart that's, you know, it's got a big chassis, it's got twin engines, it's quite a heavy thing, and you get on something that's 2-stroke, it's like it's like I suppose like driving a Formula One car compared to like, you know, an F4 car or something like that. It's like, holy crap.
Well, you just sat on the floor, aren't you? And like in the early days with nothing around you, no protection really whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they'd do probably about TKM would maybe about 70, 75 miles an hour, maybe.
Yeah, they were quite quick when they were respectably quick.
Yeah, but the acceleration was mega and the cornering speed was just unbelievable because they just grit. Yeah. And, you know, when you were that exposed and that low down, it felt like 150 miles an hour. It was the only thing I've ever done since that's come close to giving me that sort of buzz of adrenaline has been skiing. Going down skiing, and that's mainly because I'm not technically that very good at it. So I always feel like I'm about to crash, but that speed of like being right on the edge, and it's quick, but you could easily go wrong. I've never experienced that apart from in skiing, doing some skiing, in anything I've done apart from karting.
It's funny actually. Years, you know, so obviously I went to do radicals. Eventually raced in radicals, and we were doing a track day for a guy called Dave Tilley who had a couple of radicals that used to do driving experiences in radicals, and they were pretty quick with the aero. They weren't super fast in a straight line, but the aero was really good, so it made them fast through the corners. And a girl called Amy Williams turned up for the day, and she was actually invited along by I noticed Rob Huff was next door in the garage next door,
Right.
and she was a guest of Rob Huff's. I don't know. It must have been some sponsorship thing. So Amy Williams, she won gold in whatever Olympics it was as Skeleton Amy. She was the girl that went on this little tea tray type thing, and she won gold. And there was whatever university had done a load of research into the suit that she wore and the helmet. Everything was like mega aero. And she came along, and she'd gone around in the touring car and really liked it. And I said, I think David sort of said, do you fancy her running this? And we took her out, and like first thing, of course, she's coming out of the pit, she's straight into Maggotts Beckett's, and I was fairly dialed in, and I just flat into Maggotts Beckett's. She was like, and she came out and she goes, yeah, that's pretty much as close as to, that feels like my skeleton back in the day.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. So that sense of that. It's the cornering speed. It's not the straight line speed. It's how you go through the corners, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just reminded me of talking about the karting days and how it changed. You'd have a couple of it started to get kind of semi-professional while we were doing it, and where everything was prepped and how everything looked. But you get a couple of old school boys who were really quick drivers who were kind of at the top in British Championships, who'd turn up and they'd look like the thing had just come off a scrapyard. They just got out of the back of the shed and put it on a trailer. Didn't even have proper rate. Do you remember Jimmy Haycraft? Remember him?
Jimmy Haycraft. His name came up the other day. I can't remember. It was someone was saying, "Oh, this guy is a bit of a skater boy, and he used to turn up with Doc Martens."
Yeah, big, massive boots. He didn't have racing boots. He had like Dr. Martens. He used to race in, and it looked like a bag of shit, the car. But he obviously prepped it or got it working, and he was good. Like he was
very good.
Yeah, he was one of the top in the country, wasn't he? And
then he won at Clay Pigeon one year in TKM. It must have been the year before you, I think.
Yeah, I think he did. And then he was a nice guy as well. And then
he was lovely. Yeah,
Kevin Rowland. I don't know if you would.
I was about to say, as my uncle used to say, as Uncle Clifford used to say, and I don't mind if I use profanity, that fucking bedstead that he's on, that fucking bed, look at that fucking bedstead.
It was brilliant though.
It just, what chassis was that it was on? This red thing, wasn't it? You couldn't really tell what colour it was because it was so much grime on it.
Grime, it was rusty, I think. But he'd raced like when he was a kid, and then he'd had a career, and he'd come back into it when he was in his sort of 30s. Yeah, and he came and started doing club champs and Super One, and me and him got on really well. He sort of took me under his wing a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so he was the uncle of Oliver Rowland, Formula E superstar.
No way! No, I never knew that.
Yeah, he's his uncle. And
no way.
Yeah, so he talked about
is that?
His young nephew that had just started racing. It was Oliver Rowland. Formula E.
I never knew that.
Yeah. But he was like, he used to turn up on this. Everybody prepped and all these teams, and everything was smart and all these new tyres. And he just turned up on this, like you said, like a
absolute shitbox, wasn't it? Yeah, bedstead.
But he was such a good driver.
Yeah, he was good actually. He was really good at taking people out. That's amazing. He just used to get so many black flags, didn't he? I remember him.
He'd get people having a go at him, and he just bad stuff at me. Like he just smiled at me. He was like, "Yeah, whatever, mate." Yeah, and he'd never get wound up with him at all.
My dad told me quite a good conversation that he'd had with him, and he's like, and because my dad was like, "Who is this dude?" He just used to like fire people off left, right, and centre. And my dad said that he got into a conversation with him, and then so Kevin then spent a bit of time carefully talking about the art form of taking someone out. It's you have to wait until they're really committed under brakes, and then just tap them at the rear, and off they.
He helped me out. He's far enough in the past that I think I could talk about it without getting either of us in trouble now. But I think it was at Kensington. I was trying to win the club championships. I was perennially second in the club championships, and we got to like the last round, and we were both doing similar things in the heats, and I think we both qualified sort of in the middle of the grid for the final. And he says, "You're trying to win this, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, trying to win this championship." He says, "Don't worry, I'm just here for a laugh. So I'll help you out. Follow me." Said, when I get to the first corner, just tuck in behind me. I kid you not.
Oh my God.
He just, every time I got to the corner, he just wiped somebody out in front of me, and I just followed him through. And then eventually we got high enough up the order. He just waved me through. And I think I got the podium. He was just
taking everyone else out.
Cheers.
Like a game of Mario Kart.
He gave me a good chance.
Who was the other one? I want to say, was it Kent Sekban? Can you remember Kent Sekban?
Oh, that name.
The guy he was like, I think he was Canadian or something. He used to turn up.
That's right.
And it was lobbed in the back of his Mark II Golf. That's where he used to sit it in the back. If he wasn't on the roof or anything like that, no, in the back seats, chuck it in there. Again, he was quite quick. Really intelligent guy, though. I remember bumping into him at Bloxham Post Office randomly. I was like, how's Kent Sekban doing in my post office?
Really?
Like, because we'd gone down there. It was just like, I can't remember, because my dad had a business he had this garage in Bloxham. Just like walking down there, it's like one of my go-kart riders. So what the hell are you doing in here?
Yeah. He was good, wasn't he? Yeah, I remember. Vaguely. God, it's so long ago, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Some great characters.
Yeah.
But tell me about the commentating then. So I just remember randomly hearing your voice come on the tannoy at Risington, circa, it would have been what, 90, it was probably 95-ish, something like that. But or maybe was it when I came back into karting? I just remember coming back, I was like, oh, Chris Hartley is commentating.
Yeah, I was still
When
racing.
did it all start then?
Yeah, it was, then 95. So I was in my last sort of year or two of racing. And I didn't really ever race that much at Rizzy. I did the British Champs there and did the old practice round, but it was never really a track I raced at that often. But I used to go along and watch. And Kevin Busby used to race there, to go watch sometimes. And he got involved with the committee, I think. And their big meeting of the year was the Midland Championships.
Yeah,
which had gone on for years and years. Like Nigel Mansell had won it in the past. 210 gearbox karts.
Yeah, against Mark Allen. Remember Mark Allen?
Yeah.
And Ross Allen?
Yeah. Proper racing family.
Yeah, I need to get them on the podcast, actually.
Yeah, that'll be good. You'd have a few tales to tell, I reckon.
Yeah.
So that was their big meeting, but I can't remember if the old commentator retired or died, or I honestly don't know. I can't remember. But they said, we need a commentator. And Kevin said, well, why don't you do it? You're always here. You're not racing in it. You know most of the drivers. And it hadn't even ever occurred to me to do commentary. Not a chance. And I was like, no, I don't think I could do that. Like, get on a microphone and talk all day, and nah. And it took a while. He kept going at me, and he eventually persuaded me. And I think I might have done a clubby the month before. I distinctly remember, so the commentary box there was on top of, there was a dummy grid where you used to form up before you went out for the rolling starts.
I might have a photo of it. Carry on talking.
And then there was the race admin porter cabin. And on top of that was basically a shed, which was the commentary box. You had to go up some rickety old, it was a wooden stairs or a ladder to get up there. But you can see the whole track up there. So I went up there, and I distinctly remember it took me quite a few minutes to turn the microphone on. Like, I was having a bit of a nervous breakdown, but I did it, and I'm sure it was pretty wobbly and whatever. And anyway, I got through the day, did it, and actually enjoyed it, which surprised me. And they loved it, and they said, well, can you come and do the Midland Championships, but can you just come and do it every month? And I was like, well, really? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay. So then it just started, and I just used to go there every month, get paid like 40 quid or something to go do it for a weekend. And yeah, just got into it that way. Did that for a few years. And then eventually stopped racing. I was trying to get a career going in marketing. I worked for an advertising agency as a marketing manager.
Okay.
And it was just a hobby, really. Just did that for a few years. And then I thought, well, I think I enjoy this, and I'd like to do a bit more of it. So maybe I should do it, try and do it for cars, do it at proper big car racetracks. But how'd you become a commentator? Because there's no CV that you send in. There's no, head of recruitment. I didn't even know any commentators. How'd you get into it? So, and this is how long ago this was. I wrote some actual letters with a pen and paper and posted them off to, just race circuits. Didn't even know who to address them to, and said, this is what I do. I've been commentating for several years doing karts. I'd like to perhaps try and do some more stuff. Can you let me know I get involved? And I didn't hear from any of them apart from Mallory Park.
Oh, really?
Right back to me. And they said, we'll put you in touch with our regular commentator. which was a guy called Andrew Wilkins, who did loads of commentary, circuit commentary. And then he got in touch with me and said, "Well, come along to the next one I'm doing next month, and just come and meet me and see how it all works." So that's what I did, and he was really gracious, gave me loads of time and loads of advice, and obviously was willing and thought, yeah, I'd like to do this. And then I think it would have been later that year or possibly the year after. He just basically said, if anything comes up, like I'll let you know. I'll put your name forward, and you can get a bit of experience. It's the only way you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And so 2000, having done sort of 4 or 5 years of kart commentary, I got a call or an email. Might have been an email then. Might have been advancing to technology.
Yeah.
Email from Andrew saying I'm doing a meeting at the MG Car Club. Their big meeting, MG Live at Silverstone in June or July. But we need somebody to do the pit lane. We haven't got anybody doing the pit lane interviews and the podiums. Do you fancy it? Yeah, I'll do that. My first gig, and did that and loved it, and it went well. And then just basically picked up a few sort of stand-ins that year. People had dropped out, and Andrew would recommend me, and then he put me in touch with David Addison, who's the British Grand Prix commentator at Silverstone, and most famously, he's the ITV commentator for the BTCC.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that organised the rota of commentators for club events all around the country, basically, for your circuit commentators. And so I messaged him, and I met him just to say, he said, come and say hello to me. So I met him at Alton Park when he was doing a touring car circuit commentary.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, well, you've got some good experience. That's good. But you need to get some more experience. But I also need to see, what you like and how you work. I'm doing one at Silverstone next month. Come along. It's sort of in the winter, at the end of that first year of doing a few. And I went to see him, and he was commentating. I think it was the box at Woodcote Corner on the outside. And without any warning whatsoever, he said, right, you do the next race. And I said, well, I haven't prepped, right? Because you didn't tell me I was going to do this. And I was like, I'd have done loads of homework and prepped and, found out what's been going on with the championship, got some notes on the drivers. He said, don't worry, I just want to see what you sound like and how you deal with being thrown in. So I did a race off the blocks with him stood over my shoulder right behind me through. It was quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It must have gone okay, because then he basically got me on the rota, and then I started getting more work through him, and it just snowballed really. The more you did it, the more people heard you, and if you got recommended, they go, oh, yeah, I heard him at Brands Hatch the other weekend. He was all right. We'll get him. So I ended up doing loads and loads. And I'd be doing like 30 weekends a year of commentating, and still overlapping that for a time at least with Rissington. That's how I got into it. It was purely by chance, really. No plan whatsoever to be a commentator, but obviously loved motorsport. Knew I wasn't going to be in a position to earn a living out of being a racing driver. So it seemed like a good way to stay involved with the sport and actually earn
the sport. Yeah, the sport that you're so passionate about, because we're all really passionate about Formula One. I mean, I'm guessing you watched like F1 with your dad, and I'm sure we'd have, that was part of the thing that made us go kart racing, wasn't it? It was something that was accessible, and the fact that you're a fan and you raced, you did karting for so many years, and you're obviously very passionate about it, and you've managed to create something out of your passion. And it's absolutely, that's the thing you've got to strive for in life, isn't it? You've got to do something that you enjoy doing.
Oh yeah, that's what I say to my kids. Like, if you possibly can, whatever it is, just do something that you enjoy as a job, because you spend so long in your job, 8-10 hours a day. Some people commute for 2 or 3 hours just to get there and back. You might work late nights, you're working with, so you work out the amount of percentage of your life that's working compared to just enjoying yourself and being with your family. Yeah. And it's a high percentage. Yeah. It's like 60-70%. So why not everybody has the choice or the chance to do it, but if you possibly can, just do something you really want to do, because then it's not like work. And that's, you got to live and die by that. So I eventually started a career in marketing. So I worked in a marketing department in a big bit like David Brent in The Office in a big paper merch.
Amazing.
And I had great fun, learnt loads, had a good time doing it, enjoyed it. And then I ended up in an advertising agency working with clients and working with the art department and copywriters and getting advertising done and brochures made. And I loved all that.
Yeah.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. Like, I really enjoyed it. And then one day when I've been doing that for a few years, but also commentating at weekends, I had a look at my boss at the time, who would really have been about 40 years old. And he looked so like dog tired, and he'd been working weekends and nights, and he just looked like he wasn't enjoying it. And I thought, if I could do this, I could make a career out of this. I'm all right at it. I'm quite organised and get things done. But do I want to be him when I'm 40? Do I want to look like that? And I was like,
yeah.
And we hadn't got kids at the time. So I took the plunge. I was like, I'm going to go for it and try and see if I can earn a living out of this. So I gave up my actual job, went freelance, and started doing commentating, and luckily picked up some work doing some TV stuff and production stuff and interviewing, and didn't look backwards after that, really.
That's mega. It's just to say, because obviously, I went off and did my working at Silverstone thing and in car racing and all the rest of it, and then, I think last time I saw you at a circuit was probably at Spa. Remember when we bumped into each other at Spa? Was that a Fun Cup race, was it?
It would have been.
It was a Fun Cup race, I think, wasn't it?
25-hour race.
That's right, yeah. I think I was racing a Lotus that weekend.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they would often be on the same package. Yeah.
Let me see if I can get some of the Fun Cup stuff up.
There you go. So that was Fun Cup was my first TV gig, really. Second. Actually, the first one was Rissington. The guy that I commentated at the Midland Championships, and they filmed it one year.
Right.
Production company that filmed it. I harassed him for ages and said, "Look, can I do the TV commentary? Because I know everybody. I've done this all for years." Rather than get somebody in, he's, I don't know, and TV. I was like, I can do it. Trust me. Like, I'll do it for nothing. Just give me a chance to do it. And did it. Did the TV commentary, and then that proved to be a good idea because that made me contacts with that production company. The guy's passed away now, called Frank Johns. He used to do a lot of producing, and he did other karting events, but he did the Fun Cup.
Right.
And then basically done that since the start, and it's sort of grown into a bit more of a full-time production. And he said, I need to concentrate on producing at the moment. I'm producing it and I'm doing the interviews. Could you do the interviews and could you do a bit of presenting? I was like, yeah, okay. So that was how I got into doing TV work, was through the Fun Cup.
Through Fun Cup, was it?
Like 2000 and I think we started in 2004. So I think it was a couple of years into the championship, about 2006, I think I started doing that. And still work with them. Still do quite a bit of stuff with them, more sort of social media stuff these days, but I do present their awards ceremony. And they were most like the karting fraternity. They were all very competitive. The racing was great, but it was also a lot of fun. And it's the most fun paddock to be in, and it still is. There's a great bunch of people. Yeah,
I mean, I did a year of racing with it, really enjoyed it. They're very... they're well-engineered cars, and I think you need to know what you're doing with one of them. I mean, it's a very simple car, and it's a very robust car, but what I mean is you need to know all the tweaks.
Yeah,
it's a bit like Ginetta Junior. It's like the things need to be, like, you need to just be able to breathe on them and they start rolling along the paddock. Do you know what I mean? Everything needs to be like free running, and if you're not with the right team, you're not going to win. But they are really close with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the most like watching karting, I think. The amount of times there are like 10 of them battling for the lead of the race.
Yeah, I'm talking out of turn probably. What I mean is, like, you need to know how to drive it, and B, lots of testing, and you need to have a good engineer that.
Yeah, no, 100%, because there are lots of drivers in that championship that have really just done that championship in years, and then you get some big names quite often come in that have done British GTs and touring cars,
and they're nowhere.
And they're gonna wipe the floor with this lot, and they can't beat them because they just know how to drive the car, how to set it up,
Yeah.
how to race it, and how to do the performance pit stop. So there's no minimum pit stop time. You're
yeah.
in and out as quick, and they're so good at those pit stops.
Yeah.
And it's just brilliant. I love it. The racing's great, and you get like 4-hour races, and they're still crossing the line tenths of a second apart at the end of it.
Yeah.
So it's just a great championship. And like you said, the cars they're kind of single seaters, really. They look like Beetles. It's a gimmick. They're not actually silhouette. That it's a single seater underneath it.
Yeah, it's a space frame, and it's just a sort of Volkswagen body work on it, isn't it? That's funny. What on earth is going on here? Can you see that photo there?
Which one's that?
It's the one. It's from the awards ceremony. Is that not? Is it appearing on your screen or not?
Well, yeah, no. Am I laying down on it?
Correct. You are.
Okay. So I sent you that one because the Fun Cup Award. I still do the awards night. My brief when I started doing it years ago was to make it fun. We don't want a boring old awards ceremony. Feel free to take the piss out of anybody you want to take the piss out of, including the championship organizer. So then I do that every year. I've only ever missed a couple. And we make it a fun night. And it's a whole presentation, like videos. We get the last round, we get people to film comedy sketches with us. We take the mickey out of them. And that's one of my favourite photos from it, because basically that's...
Can you see it? Has that come up yet?
Come up now, yeah. That's John Gilbert. He raced in the Fun Cup. He's managing director at Speedworks now, run the Toyotas and touring cars.
Okay, cool.
We did a few serious awards, but most of the awards were piss take awards. So he got the least, I think it was the least gracious exit in a pit stop, because there was a footage of him just literally being dragged out of the car, thrown on his arse to get him out of the car. So
amazing.
We did the whole interview lying on our asses.
That is comedy. That is comedy.
That gives
you sent me some decent videos, because it's taken you like you do. Well, give me a list of all the championships you've commentated or do commentate on, either in the past or present. There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Well, of late, the big things that I do. Since 2016, I've been the lead commentator for the British touring cars at the circuit. So the circuit commentary, which was a dream job for me. I've done that for 10 seasons now, and love it. Racing's mega, and since 2020, I've been the lead TV commentator for the DTM, which is also mega. Like, the racing is brilliant. So German Touring Car Championship as it was, but they're GT3 cars these days.
What is it shown on?
It goes to 150 different countries. So basically, you get the German TV commentators. It goes out live in Germany on one of their main, their equivalent to ITV, one of their main stations. And so in Germany and Austria, it's taken in the German language, but we do the English international TV commentary, which is basically every other country around the world. In the UK, until a couple of years ago, it was on BT Sport, but it's on Premier Sports now, which is one of those sort of subscription channels that you have to get with Sky, but you can. I mean, the races in certain countries, you can watch it live on YouTube, and if you've got a VPN, let's say, you can probably watch it in the UK on YouTube live as well.
Cool.
So, I worked on it for. I got that through circuit commentary, because when it came to the UK for a few years at Brands Hatch, I was the pit lane reporter for the crowd that were there, and then got to know the championship, and then through David Addison got to meet Dave Richardson, who was the DTM commentator, who needed a second voice, and did a few years of 3 or 4 appearances a year as a second commentator. And then Dave decided he was getting too busy with all the stuff he does, backed down and recommended to the DTM that I take over, which was, again, more good luck for me. So I started doing that in 2020, doing the TV commentary.
Mega.
Which is mega. So those are my 2 main things that I do now. I'm lucky enough every year to do the British Grand Prix at Silverstone as well with David Addison.
That's really, really cool. Let me see if I can find a shot of that. Yeah,
that's a bucket list.
Yeah, definitely.
So got to do it. First time was 2011, when they used to have 3 commentators, and it was Silverstone TV, and you did the commentary for the circuit and the big screens. So I did it for a few years, and then the budget got cut, and they went back to 2 commentators, and I was the 3rd guy in, so I didn't do it for a couple of years. And then Ian Titchmarsh, who was the legend of circuit commentary for many years.
Yeah.
He backed down from doing it. He wanted to do less commentary, as he was sort of getting to retirement age. So David Addison said, I'm going to take his job as the lead commentator. Do you want to do my job and be in the commentary box of Beckett's? I was like, yes, please. And apart from that 1 year of COVID, I've done it every year since, which is just mega. Like, to have the chance to, somebody who started out commentating at Rissington for 40 quid a day or whatever it was, to end up being part of the British Grand Prix, doing that commentary. I never take it for granted that I'm going to get it the next year, but they keep asking me back for some reason.
Mate, it's fantastic. What a great thing to have happen. I'm really looking forward to going to the British Grand Prix. I haven't been for a good number of years, and I'm looking forward to hearing your voice again on the commentary.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great weekend, and even if you get a not entirely competitive season of F1, Silverstone always tends to throw up a good Grand Prix, a good race, and we've had some real good battles over the years. And I suppose the highlight was the year before last, when Hamilton got his first win for ages.
Yes,
and won, and the noise was. It's pretty good. When Lando won this year, it was pretty incredible, but the noise when he won, just superb.
Yeah. What a great thing to do. So you're doing that each year. That's so cool.
Do that each year, yeah. And then, so I mean, I because they're quite big commitments. Like DTM is 8 weekends a year, but you go out. I go to the event, so you go out on a Thursday, you fly out to Germany or Austria or Holland or wherever it is, and you're out there till usually Monday. So you're kind of out there 5 days at a time. I do the touring cars. Sometimes they clash, but there's 10 weekends of that. I also, to try and make a living, run a little production company. So we do lots of work for Ferrari Challenge. We do make their highlight shows for Sky, and we do their live streams as well. So I produce all that basically, and I'm alongside another guy called Andy Grierson. We put those together. So that takes like a lot of time, not just the weekends, but getting prepped for everything as well. You don't just turn up and talk. You've got to know your stuff and do your homework. So I don't tend to do so much circuit club commentary now, whereas I was doing like 25, 30 weekends a year of that. But I think I had to add it up once. Somebody asked me, and I'd done more than 400 different events, circuit events, in terms of like club circuit commentary. So I've served my apprenticeship, done a lot of that, a lot of different things, and met a lot of really interesting people. A lot of people you see again from karting. So obviously people like you that come back in, you meet them again years later, and they're racing cars rather than karts. Yeah. About a decade ago, I started doing a bit more kart commentary again as well, like European Championships, Rotax Max. So
cool, man.
Yeah, you'd have like the young drivers that I got to know then over a period of a few years. They then start popping up in single seaters and touring cars and so forth. Commentated on Lando a couple of times and Max Verstappen, and then they crop up. I did Formula 3 for quite a few years as well.
Oh yeah, I saw some video footage you sent me of that actually. I'll if it's not working now, I'll stick it up on the screen in post processing. But there was I'm not sure if it will come up on the screen, but that was quite a cool one. So what the one that I'm looking on screen here now is it looks like Max Verstappen against, who would that have been?
That was Antonio.
Tom Blomqvist.
Tom Blomqvist was up there winning, and Antonio Giovinazzi Verstappen was having the fight with. So that was Verstappen's. So I did Euro Rotax karting. He didn't race in that championship, but my first time ever talking about him, he came and did a guest appearance in Italy, I think it was, and blitzed the race. Like, he was like, "Oh, this guy's good." Obviously, I knew his dad was, because I watched Formula One when his dad was racing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, this kid's good." And then a couple of years later, I was doing Euro F3, and he popped up, and he's straight from karts, never done anything before. He did that one season of car racing, which I commentated on the whole year for TV. And I remember talking to him. Talking to his dad at the Red Bull Ring towards the end of the season. And so, well, have you thought about next year? What are you going to do next year? He said, well, we've got a big announcement coming up, but I can't say anything, but it's big. I was like, okay. So I thought, well, I wonder if he's going to do DTM, because Euro F3 was on the DTM package back then. That's quite a big step. He's only done 1 year of kart racing. And then a few weeks later, it got announced that he was going to be a Formula One driver. But that period of F3 was great, because some of them I'd seen coming up through karting, and then they turn up in Euro F3. And then that was a bit of a golden period of Formula 3 racing, because they've all now gone on and had Formula One careers of some form or another. So you had Verstappen, Ocon was in there, Leclerc was in there, Alex Albon was racing when I was doing all these guys coming up. Jake Dennis, who had started out at Rissington, because his dad Steve used to race gearbox karts at Rizzy.
Oh, right.
Jake, who's become a Formula 3 champion since then. He came and did Euro F3 for a time, but I hadn't seen him since he was like 7-8 years old, when he was racing cadets. So all these people come back around. You see them again a bit later on in their careers, which is really,
all their sons or daughters are around.
Yeah, then you're getting old now. Yeah.
It's funny when I see Susie Stoddart on what I call Susie Stoddart, because I used to work with her at Silverstone, just as instructors and various things when she was racing in Formula Renault, and I see her around the pits. Susie Wolf, yeah, nice girl actually. I like Susie.
Yeah, she was good in Formula Renault, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's pretty handy. I think she was ahead of Lewis quite a lot of the time. To be fair, it was Lewis's first year of it, but
race winner, yeah.
Yeah,
no, the names come back around. It seems to be one of those sports as well where, like, if your mum or your dad did it, there's a fairly high chance you're going to do it as well. There's so many, kids of former racing stars that come and do it, and tend to do pretty well as well normally.
Yeah, there was the last podcast I did was with this young Australian lad. George Proudfoot Nolder, and he's racing in Ginetta Juniors, but one of his main competitors, or one of the guys who was, I'm guessing, is winning the championship, was certainly first or second. I think it's Tom Coronel's son.
Oh, right.
I'm sure it's Coronel. I might get that completely wrong. It's around that sort of era of driver. And I was just like, yeah, that's definitely the offspring of Tom's Gartner. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, they pop up, I'm definitely getting old now.
Did you watch the DTM? Not DTM. Sorry, they call it NLS race. But what I used to call VLN, what used to be called VLN race with Max over the weekend. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the result. Yeah, yeah,
it's mega.
I think it's so good that he just wants to race. He could do anything he wanted to, or nothing if he doesn't want to. And he just get the impression he just wants to drive cars, and he loves the purity of racing. So, yeah, I can see him, when he wants to stop doing F1, whenever that is, he'll still carry on. He'll do loads of other stuff, I reckon. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in Nurburgring 24-hour, DTM, Le Mans, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, he's the closest thing to how focused Senna was. I mean, I know Schumacher was excellent, and I know he went bike racing. There's not a lot of people, well, I say not a lot of people probably out of the sport know that after he hung up his helmet in Formula One, which he obviously came back to Formula One, but he went and did a couple of seasons of like national bike racing. And it's like, these kids just like going fast, and it's obviously the same with Max. Like, he does like endurance sim races. It's like, it's funny when I hear him say, oh, it'll be, if he does the Nurburgring 24 hours, it'll be his first 24 hours. It'll probably be his 15th 24 hours, actually. It'll just be his first one that's actually happening on a circuit. And it's, to me, his teammate, I can't remember the name of his teammate. I should know, should be up with these things, but I didn't realise he was last year's Radical champion.
Right.
The lad that was racing with him, was it last year's or this year's? I think it was last year's Radical champion. So I haven't coached in Radicals for a couple of years now, but he'd come out of sim racing, did car racing in Radicals and is now teammates with Max, and Max has put him in there because he's an excellent sim racer. And they've just gone and won the Nurburgring 3-hour race, and as my friend Snowy pointed out,
Chris Lullen, wasn't it?
That's the one. Yeah. So has he come out of go karts as well? Has he got a go kart background?
Verstappen?
No. This Chris Lullen.
I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he's only last couple of years sort of come onto my radar. But so he did Radicals. He does GT World Challenge now. He races for Emil Frey in the Ferrari. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and they've just gone and won the 3 hours.
First time I've asked him.
First time out. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, Max wouldn't have him in the car unless he was pretty decent.
No. Imagine trying to learn that track. It blows my mind.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I was fortunate enough to race the 24 hours there this is in 2000 in a Caterham. Caterham 7 I raced before they banned them because they were so bloody dangerous to race. Because the trouble is, so I raced with, and it was literally on an absolute shoestring. I think I spent 450 quid to do it. Bought myself a seat for 450 quid, and 50 quid of that went in the back pocket of Rob Garofal. Oops, sorry if I said that on national media. Never mind. But it was literally, you'd have Dodge Vipers, GT3 cars, and we were in this shitbox Caterham Superlight with Formula 3000 slicks on it, this thing. But it was actually really quick. It was myself, Rob Garofal, Robin Liddell. It was just us three. But we were actually, because we were half decent peddlers, we were actually doing a reasonable job. We were winning our class at one point. But the like a Viper was like 170, 180 miles an hour in a straight, and we were like VMAX at 130. It was like an aerodynamic brick wall, but we were really fast through the corners. But it was just an experience, Yeah. But the way they learn now is on a sim. Yeah. Just learn it on a sim.
Something we didn't have. See, we didn't have all this kind of V-Box data either, did you? It was a longer process to learn a track and learn your mistakes, which, back in our day, it was Dad with a stopwatch on the side of the track. And if he got really technical, he would go and stand on a particular corner that he knew you were looking a bit slow through, and just stand on the inside of the corner and watch the others go through it, and then watch you go through it and say, you want to be a bit tighter to the curb there, son, or a bit later on the brakes. That was it. No data whatsoever. It was very raw. So the world's changed a lot, hasn't it? With sim racing is, I know, massive now, and pro drivers use it all the time in between races, don't they, to train and practice and learn circuits. It's an amazing tool. Yeah, it's just it's very good for teaching someone a circuit in the first place. I mean, I remember when I first went to Nurburgring to properly coach around there, and I went with a fella called Stu Ratcliffe, who I raced with in the Lotus Cup UK, and it was in his 996 Porsche. It was in October sort of time, and he had done loads of laps around there on Gran Turismo. Yeah. And because he was good on Gran Turismo, he'd gone around there and he just knew the circuit. And even though I'd raced the 24 hours and I'd done probably 2 or 3 stints around there, he knew the circuit better than I did. My only experience of the Nordschleife in terms of being on it, I've commentated on it a few times, but I was at the Nürburgring, but at the Grand Prix circuit for an F2 race. I think it was my first or second TV commentary. It's back when Jonathan Palmer ran Formula 2, before it was the Formula 2 that we have now, but it was still FIA Formula 2. Yeah. The championship coordinator was James Gornall, who was I think it was a double.
Oh, no, James,
kart champion, wasn't he, in TKM?
Yeah.
Who I knew a little bit because I didn't race against him. He's much younger than me, but I did a bit of filming and interviewing with him, and we covered a couple of the events that he did. So I knew him a little bit, and then we went out there together, and he said, "Do you fancy going around the Nordschleife?" Then he said, "I've got the company car, which is I think it was BMW X2 or an X3 or something." He said, "Come around if you want. I'll drive. You be passenger." I was like, "Yeah, go on then." So we did that on the Friday evening or something. And what I hadn't realised was that I assumed you'd have separate sessions for cars and a different one for motorbikes, but everybody goes out together.
It'd have been a tourist and fun day if you'd have gone up when the barriers open, yeah?
Yeah, complete free-for-all.
Utter carnage.
So he said, basically, your job, Chris, is you got to look in the mirrors, because I'm pretty focused on trying to get this car around all these corners. But we got these motorbikes that will come from nowhere. Like I won't even see them come in, and I've got to make sure I don't turn into to knock one of them off.
Yeah.
And these things are, we were going pretty quick. You know, he's since become a British GT champion, and he's raced in BTCC as well. So he was giving it some. But these bikes were just like, you'd look in the mirror, nothing there, you're right. You look again, oh my God, he's on us. And these bikes would come past you, get into the corner, get a proper wobble on, and I'm like, please don't fall off in front of us because we're going to wipe you out. And it was terrifying. And I was like, not sure I'd ever want to race around here. It's just insane.
You've got to go into it with your eyes wide open. I mean, a similar sort of experience, again, I think it was probably on a day with Ratters, and we came through, I can't even remember the name of the corner, but it was basically somewhere near, I think it was just after Adenauer Bridge, actually, and came round, fast left-hander, coming down to the hairpin, two bikes. There was one biker like lying on the ground, and the bike on the side. I was just like, oh my God, what have we done here? What have we come onto this day? But it's mega though. There's like, it's funny, I was watching it the weekend and I was like, actually, I really fancy going back there just to have a little blast around there, you know, whether I'm racing or whether I'm not racing, just to, even if it's a little trip to go and enjoy driving around there, because there's nothing quite like it. I know the place quite well in my head now. But it's like literally, when I first learned it, it was literally printing out the Porsche, whatever it was, club maps of the circuit. And I'm learning it, trying to look down at the track. Just trying to look down like a top-down view. That's how I'm learning it, trying to remember it in my head. Absolutely no chance of getting to learn it like that. But Sim or Gran Turismo.
Yeah, I feel lucky that it's still there. It feels like it in this day and age, it shouldn't exist. Like it shouldn't be allowed. It's kind of, I mean, it is pretty dangerous if you think about it. But it's such it's so established. It's such a tradition, part of motorsport, world motorsport, that it's great they've kept it going. And if you ever get the chance to go to the 24-hour, it's something else. I mean, the racing's pretty mega. The GT's going around there, but I did a couple of events where we do like 2-hour commentary, then have a few hours off, so you get to walk around it as well. And if you go around at night time, go and take yourself off to a corner, it's spectacular watching the cars come through this insane piece of tarmac with barely any vision or visibility. But then it's the fans that are there. I mean, German fans are something else. Like, they build literally towers out of beer kegs so they can climb up these beer kegs to look over the fence from their campsites to watch the racing. There's techno music going, there's bonfires going. They're on it for like 36 hours, 48 hours. It's insane, like the atmosphere there.
I just remember when in the Caterham, of course, it's an open top car. I just remember like coming through some of the corners, and you'll see the burger van on the left hand side, and then all the lights lighting that up, and then you'd go through another bit, and I can smell burgers. You know what I mean? It's just like burgers and fires, and it's just, even as a driver, you're getting the sensation. You're certainly in an open top car, and then it would be like pitch black for a whole section, and then it would be bright again. And Grand Prix circuit. I know the Grand Prix circuit. I'll go around it.
But and the weather. I mean, it's like Spa, isn't it? It's got its own weather system. And I did one year. It's the year. It was the year Maro Engel won. So what was that? 2016-ish, I think. And he won it on the last lap. But I did it with David Addison, and we didn't get a starter list for the start of the race. He said, would you be able to go down to the grid and try and get as many starters as you can? Well, you know how many cars are in that race. It's not a grid of 20, is it? No. It's quite a big grid. So I went down, and I don't know what was 100 cars in it or something, 120. I got them all. I got every starter by either looking in the car, seeing who they were, asking the team. So I went up and down, but it was like 34 degrees. It was insane. And I was running up and down, and I ran back to the commentary box to get there for the start of the race. And I was dripping. I was so hot. And I kid you not, an hour and a quarter later, the race got stopped because it was hailing, and the cars couldn't get up the hill. This is in May, middle of May, late May. And it just changed like that from literally summer to winter. And it kind of does that every year, doesn't it? Whether it's fog or heavy rain or whatever. It's just a unique event, a unique place.
It's proper. Let's make sure it stays alive as a proper racing circuit. Well, mate, thank you very much for giving me your time. It's really mega to catch up. I was really looking forward to this. I was like, yeah, it's great to catch up with Chris, and hopefully anyone who likes 1990s karting or, British motorsport will, I don't know, have a link with some of the stuff that we're talking about. I suppose I should summarise it. Please subscribe. You see how slick that is.
Very good.
Please subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Share it if you can. I tell you what, something that I should ask every guest, and I'll ask you this now, completely unprepared. So sorry if I'm putting you on the spot, but who would you like to see on the podcast? And that's something that I haven't really. Yeah, I should have given you a bit of prep on that. But is there any characters that you haven't seen on the podcast that you'd like to see?
On the podcast, right? Well, let's go with. You got to aim high, haven't you? I think. Guess somebody big. Somebody with lots of interesting stories. It's been you've had Fluxy. That was a good one. I don't know anybody beat his amount of stories. I think it would be good if you got somebody from the world of British touring cars with a few tales to tell, like a Jason Plato or a Matt Neal, somebody that's been around and seen it change, still involved, but seen it change over the years. That would be.
Do you know what? When you said Jason Plato, let me see if I can drag this one up. Obviously, I saw the interview he did with Jade and with Paul O'Neill over the weekend. Was it last weekend? I can't remember. It was just recently, wasn't it?
Silverstone, yeah.
The photo of you guys together. Did you work together then for a period of time?
Right. So I've commentated whilst he was still racing in touring cars, and he started racing in 2022. So I did a few years, but that was at Carfest. I did the Carfest event for a few years. Chris Evans' big motorsport and music festival. I did the car section, all sorts of mad cars driving up and down, and he was one of the guests, so they got him up into the commentary box for one of the sessions basically, and he may have had a couple of beers before he came up, I think. But he was great fun.
Sure, it was beer.
It was great fun. But he's got so many tales to tell, so yeah, proper character, and yeah, as you said, on his way back seemingly to touring cars, but as a team boss, which would be great, I think, for the sport.
Right, I'm going to chase him down. I'll see if I can get Jason Plato on here. I'd love to do it. I've met him briefly once. He's got lots of friends, lots of mutual friends.
The other good one, again from the world of touring cars, I was lucky enough to meet him a couple of years ago as well at Knockhill. Is John Cleland, and he is seriously funny. He's the man's really an animal. Guy. He's got yeah, absolutely, exactly that. He's got a very dry sense of humour. He'd have tons of stories to tell. We had him up in the commentary box, and he was telling all sorts of stories. So he'd be great as well, I think.
I tell you what, I want to get Tim Harvey on as well. Someone, I can't remember who's friends with. I think it was Simon Hill actually who said he's friends with Tim Harvey. I'd like to get him on. Yeah. The nice thing about this podcast is you can just swear and say whatever stories you like, because Flux has set the benchmark for it. We've done quite well without swearing too much on this one, actually. It's quite a bit of a family show, this one.
Been quite good, really.
We've done all right. You can tell we've both got kids.
Like super at home. Yeah. Trying to be slightly professional, I suppose. But they'd be the other good one, if you want to aim really high, Steve Ryder, who until a few months ago was the presenter for BTCC for years for ITV. But before that, I've already mentioned going back to sort of the days of Grandstand, and he covered Formula One for TV. And he's very, very funny, very self-depreciating sort of sense of humour. Yeah, lots of stories to tell. It'd be really interesting. His whole, not just to do with touring cars, but his whole broadcast career, I think would be a mega story. So there you go. There's a few.
That's absolutely mega. And if you're out there, if you want to see someone on the Don't Lift Off podcast, give me a shout. Or if you know any of those names we just mentioned, Paul O'Neill, I'm coming for you. Mate, it's
swearing on that
great.
One.
Hey, all right, mate. Hey, calm down, pal. Hey. It'd be brilliant. Mate, it's been great to catch up. Yeah, Send my
likewise.
best to your mum and dad and to Susan and to all the family, mate.
Yeah, likewise. And I'll probably, hopefully, see you at some racetrack somewhere in the wet.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, Mal, keep it pinned.